Welcome to the Learning Lab class, Digital Privacy Basics. My name is Melissa, and I'm one of the Adult and Teen Services librarians at the Arcadia Public Library. We're going to be discussing the topic of digital privacy and address how you can protect yourself and your privacy online. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at best practices for increased privacy and security on mobile devices. So let's take a look. Nowadays, almost everyone has a smartphone or other mobile device that uses apps and allows them to connect to the internet while using Wi-Fi or cellular data. When you think about it, we're all pretty much walking around with tiny computers in our pockets that have a ton of data and information about us. But what happens if that phone is lost or stolen? What happens if we download a disreputable app and a third-party company gets access to data we don't want shared? First and foremost, you'll want to use a passcode on your mobile device. Not having a passcode on your phone does make it easier for you to access it regularly, but it also makes it easier for anyone who comes in contact with your phone to access your data and information on that phone. Even if you have a passcode, you'll also want to be mindful about the length of time after a period of inactivity your phone will lock itself. Setting it to 20 minutes as opposed to 2 minutes is less secure because there's more of an opportunity for someone other than you to access your device if it's unlocked. Setting up a passcode as well as the inactivity timeout length is going to be available to you in the settings for your device. The next best practice for mobile devices is to keep the operating system and apps up to date. Apps and operating systems are updated to fix bugs or errors in the software, as well as to provide critical security updates. If you take nothing else away from this class, keeping your apps and operating systems on your mobile devices and computer up to date is an easy and effective way to keep your data more secure. Briefly, when an update is released for an app or an operating system, people are able to figure out what the bug was, reverse engineer it, and then exploit that vulnerability. So if you don't update your apps or operating system, you're vulnerable to phishing or malware attacks because your software is old. Sometimes people don't update their software or operating system because they're concerned that the update might break something or include new features that they don't like. While this is a valid concern and can definitely cause headaches when something like this occurs, it's also important to remember that if an app or operating system has a bug or needs a security update, it's already not working properly. So update your apps and your operating systems in a timely manner. Finally, another mobile device best practice is to be selective with what apps you download to your phone or mobile device and be mindful of what permissions they're asking for and what permissions you're granting them. Just because an app is in the Play or Apple Store doesn't necessarily mean that you want that app on your phone or mobile device. Every additional app you download to your device is an additional security or privacy weak point. So you'll want to be mindful about what you're installing on your devices and consider if you really need that app. For example, many apps can track your location or collect data without you opting in. The best practice for apps is to first consider if you really need that app. If you don't download it. If you do, download the app from the official app store or directly from the maker, not, say, a random website. Next, in the settings on your phone, take a look at the permissions and revoke any that are not necessary for the app to function. For example, Maps needs your location, but a game app doesn't. For an Apple device, you can access app permissions from the settings menu under Privacy. On an Android device, you can access these settings from the settings menu, then apps, then app permissions. An important fact to remember is that if an app is free, then it's possibly, but likely, collecting and selling your data. The final best practice for apps on mobile devices is to uninstall apps you're no longer using. Even if you aren't opening and using that app, many apps can run in the background and can still gather other metadata. So if you aren't using it and don't need it, delete it from your device. In this video, we went over best practices for increased privacy and security on mobile devices. Join us for our next video where we'll be discussing privacy settings on social media. Feel free to reach out to library staff if you have any additional questions.